just wish he knew. I just wish he knew.
Well then, we have returned. We are back. Back again for some Roman Civil War. Let's fucking get it, buddy. Even though I lost half the content. God damn it. Computer decided to shut itself down, and evidently there was some unsaved shit. I guess. I don't know. But it's not in the file it should be, and it's not anywhere, so I don't know what the fuck happened to that. Whatever. Wouldn't be one of my streams if there wasn't at least one issue, right? There wasn't at least one fucking issue. Let me take care of a couple of things real quick, get this shit set up, and we'll jump right into it. A lot of fucking information to cover. Give a brief overview, and then we'll get into some of the background, and then we'll go into the old crossing of the Rubicon, and then the march on to Rome. It's about all we'll get to in this stream. We'll probably hang out for a little while afterwards, and then I'm gonna have to fucking dig through my computer to try and find the rest of this shit. I lost half my fucking pictures. The entire goddamn slideshow I had set up. I went through it, like, downloaded a battle simulator and had the whole thing all fucking animated. It was cool. It was cool. And it got lost. Somewhere in my fucking computer. And I don't fucking know. I don't know where to look for it. Oh well. Either way. Before the war, Caesar had led an invasion of Gaul for almost 10 years. A buildup of tensions starting in late 50 BC with both Caesar and Pompey refusing to back down led to the outbreak of the Civil War. Pompey and his allies induced the Senate to demand Caesar give up his provinces and armies in the opening days of 49 BC. Caesar refused and instead marched on to Rome. The war was fought in Italy, Illyria, Greece, Egypt, Africa, and Hispania. The decisive events occurred in Greece in 48 BC. Pompey defeated Caesar at the Battle of Dyrrhachium, but the subsequent larger Battle of Pharsalus was won by Caesar, and Pompey's army disintegrated. Many prominent supporters of Pompey, termed Pompeians, surrendered after the battle, such as Marcus Julius Genius Brutus and Cicero. Others fought on, including Cato the Younger and Metellus Scipio. Pompey fled to Egypt, where he was assassinated upon arrival. Unfortunate. Caesar led a military expedition to Asia Minor before attacking North Africa, where he defeated Metellus Scipio in 46 BC at the Battle of Thapsus. Cato and Metellus Scipio killed themselves shortly thereafter. The following year, Caesar defeated the last of the Pompeians at the Battle of Munda in Spain, who were led by his former lieutenant, Labienus. Caesar was then made dictator perpetuo, dictator in perpetuity, or dictator for life, by the Roman Senate in 44 BC. He was then assassinated by a group of senators, including Brutus, shortly after. The Civil War was one of the commonly recognized endpoints of Rome's republican government. Some scholars view the war as the proximate cause of the Republic's fall due to its polarizing interruption of normal Republican government. Caesar's cohesive victory, followed by his immediate death, left a power vacuum. Over the following years, his heir, Octavian, was eventually able to take complete control, forming the Roman Empire as Augustus. Yep, that'll be part of it. We're going over that shit too. Because That's the more favorable story, in my opinion. I like the Augustus Civil War opposed to Caesar's Civil War. But nonetheless, Caesar's still kind of a badass. Dude was a fucking legend. Shazam! That fucking guy. The main issue at hand in the lead up to the war was how Caesar, who had been in Gaul for almost 10 years before 49 BC, was to be reintegrated into the political fabric of Rome after accumulating immense power and wealth in Gaul. Starting from 58 BC, the year after his consulship in 59, Caesar had held the proconsulship of Cisalpine Gaul along with Illyricum under the terms of the Lex Vatinia and Transplain Gaul at the assignment of the Senate. Caesar had aligned himself with Crassus and Pompey, so-called First Triumvirate. During his consulship, the alliance of three men induced a sharp restructuring of alliances and alignments, with temporary benefit to them but harm in the long run, with aristocratic groups coalescing in opposition. The short-term benefits to the three emerged from their own purposes: ratification of Pompey's eastern settlement, agrarian measures involving Pompey and Crassus. The political alliance between the three began to fray in the mid-50s BC, but it was put on hold with a renegotiation and the joint consulship of Pompey and Crassus in 55 BC. Their joint consulship assigned new provincial commands to the consuls, with Pompey receiving Hispania while Crassus went to Syria to fight the Parthians. Caesar, for his part, had his proconsulship in Gaul renewed. After Crassus's departure from Rome at the end of 55 BC and following his death in battle in 53 BC, the alliance started to fracture more cleanly. With the death of Crassus and that of Julia, Caesar's daughter and Pompey's wife, in 54 BC, the balance of power between Pompey and Caesar collapsed, and a face-off between the two may, therefore, have seemed inevitable. Off-ass do parkour. I want to see you jump a 52-foot gap 60 stories up. Holy shit, a 50-foot... Do you know how long a 52-foot gap is? Jesus. Hold on. You know what? Just for that, I'm going to look something up real quick because I'm actually curious. The longest jump in history is 8.95 meters. 8.95 meters. That's 29.2394 feet. Or 29 feet and 2.394 inches. Right? So, that being said, that would be quite an accomplishment and, like, destroy the record if I were to jump 52 feet. The 60 stories up doesn't bother me. If I know I can clear the gap, I'm going to clear the gap. Alright, where was I? From 61 BC, the main political fault line in Rome was counterbalancing against the influence of Pompey, leading to his seeking allies outside the core senatorial aristocracy, Crassus and Caesar. But the rise of the anarchic political violence from 55 to 52 BC finally forced the Senate to ally with Pompey to restore order. The breakdown of order in 53 and 52 BC was extremely disturbing. Men like Publius, Clodius Pulcher, and Titus Annius Milo were essentially independent agents, leading large violent street gangs in a highly volatile political environment. Man. It's almost like we're the same now that we were back in the day. Ha ha! Ain't nothing changed with humans. We're all the same. Ha! Shit. This led to Pompey's sole consulship in 52 BC, in which he took sole control of the city without convening an electoral assembly. Just throwing this out there, it doesn't have to be that way. You know, it really doesn't. Political agitation to strip Caesar of his command and his legions had already started in the spring of 51 BC. M. Claudius Marcellus, man, their fucking names are so badass, argued that in the year of the capture of Alesia and victory over Vercingetorix meant that Caesar's provincia in Gaul was completed, and therefore his command had lapsed. He also argued that Caesar's expected desire to stand for a second consulship in absentia was no longer justified after his victory. Regardless, the Senate rejected Marcellus's motion, as well as his later motion to declare Caesar's term in Gaul to an end on the 1st of March, 50 BC. At this time, Pompey was also instrumental in rejecting the proposed motions. Well, subsequent to the summer of 50, positions had hardened, and events progressed irreversibly towards cataclysm. With Pompey now rejecting Caesar's standing for a second consulship until he gave up his army and provinces. The Senate as a whole was relatively pacific, strongly supporting proposal by Caesar's ally, C. Scribonius Curio. Jesus Christ. Scribonius Curio. What a name. Who was then tribune of the plebes. That both Pompey and Caesar gave up their armies and commands. The proposal passed in Senate by 370 in favor to 22 against on the 1st of December 50 BC. It was rejected by Pompey and the consul. The consul, C. Claudius Marcellus, then seized upon rumors that Caesar was preparing to invade Italy and charged Pompey with defending the city and the republic. He was basically like, oh no, he's coming. You have to do something about it. What a weak leader. I'm talking about you, Marcellus. Weak ass son of a bitch. One of the reasons given as to why Caesar decided to go to war was that he would be prosecuted for legal irregularities during his consulship in 59 BC and violations of various laws passed by Pompey in the late 50s. In the consequence of which would be ignominious exile. It's kind of funny when they say late 50s, they mean like 51, 52, and 53 BC. It's kind of weird because the numbers go backwards. They go down instead of up. Ha! However, the prosecution theory emerging from Suetonius and Pollio is in highly dubious territory, and dubious in the extreme. There's no evidence from the period 50 to 49 BC that anyone was seriously planning on putting Caesar on trial. Caesar's choice to fight the civil war was motivated by his mostly stumbling in efforts to attain a second consulship and triumph, in which failure to do so would have jeopardized his political future. Moreover, war in 49 BC was advantageous for Caesar, who had continued military preparations while Pompey and Republicans barely started preparing. Well, I mean, if you got to get something done, right? If you got to get something done, just march march your people up in there. Do some battles. Even in ancient times, the causes of war were puzzling and perplexing, with specific motives nowhere to be found. Various pretexts existed, such as Caesar's claim that he was defending the rights of the tribunes after they fled the city, which was too obvious a sham. Caesar's own explanation was that he would protect his personal dignitas. Both Caesar and Pompey were impelled by pride, with Caesar refusing to yield submissively to the blusterings of the conservatives, much less to the bullying of Pompey. In Gruen's words, and Pompey similarly refusing to accept Caesar's proposals, delivered as if they were directives. Crazy. There was little conscious desire for war until the last weeks of 50 BC. Hey, Shane, welcome in. How you doing? But the Bani had entrapped themselves in a political vice from which they could not emerge with dignity except by aggressive self-assertion, while Caesar could not permit status and reputation to collapse through submission. For months leading up to January 49 BC, both Caesar and the anti-Caesarians, composed of Pompey, Cato, and others, seemed to believe that the other would back down, or failing that, offer acceptable terms. Trust had eroded between the two over the last 2 years, and repeated cycles of brinksmanship harmed chances for compromise. Yo, Bintok, what's going on? Would be cool if we could ask him. No kidding. No kidding. If we could just go back in time and ask these motherfuckers what the deal was. What their deal was. Anyways. Caesar's representatives in the city met with senatorial leaders with more conciliatory message. Was Caesar willing to give up Transalpine Gaul if he would be permitted to keep 2 legions and the right to stand for consul without giving up his imperium? But these terms were rejected by Cato, who declared he would not agree to anything unless it was presented publicly before the Senate. The Senate was persuaded on the eve of war, 7th of January, 49 BC. Probably lie to our face? Yeah, just like everybody else. That's probably the most common war tactic, is probably to tell the exact opposite of the truth. While Pompey and Caesar continued to muster troops to demand Caesar give up his post or be judged an enemy of the state, a few days later, the Senate then also stripped Caesar of his permission to stand for an election in absentia and appointed a successor to Caesar's proconsulship in Gaul. While pro-Caesarian tribunes vetoed these proposals, the Senate ignored it and moved the Senatus Consultum Ultimum. Fucking awesome. They have the coolest names for everything. Empowering the magistrates to take whatever actions were necessary to ensure the safety of the state. In response, a number of the pro-Caesarian tribunes, dramatizing their plight, fled the city for Caesar's camp. Fled for Caesar's camp. Wouldn't you know it? Wouldn't you know it? On the 10th or 11th, of January, Caesar crossed the Rubicon. Oh shit. He done crossed the Rubicon. Crossing the old Rubiconium. A small river marking the boundary between the province of Cisalpine Gaul to the north and Italy proper to the south. Crossing the Rubicon, Suetonius claims Caesar exclaimed alia iacta est. The die is cast. Though Plutarch maintains Caesar spoke in Greek, quoting the poet Menander with the anaryphtho kubos. Let the die be thrown. It's basically the same fucking thing. Caesar's own commentaries do not mention the Rubicon at all. This marked a formal start to the hostilities, with Caesar being undoubtedly a rebel. On both sides, the rank and file soldiers followed their leaders. The Gallic legions obeyed their patron and benefactor, who deserved well of the res publica. Others followed Pompey and the consuls who represented him. Caesar made sure to address his men. According to his own account, he spoke of injustices done to him by his political enemies, how Pompey had betrayed him, and focused mostly on how the rights of tribunes had been trampled by the Senate's ignoring tribunician vetoes. Parading the tribunes who had fled the city before the troops in their disguises. On the Senatus Consultum Ultimum, Caesar argued it was unnecessary and should be confined only to circumstances in which Rome was under direct threat. Well, I mean, wasn't it though? Wasn't it under direct threat? I mean, wasn't it? It's a whole lot of art about it, you know? Just saying. For most Romans, the choice, what a victim narrative. Right? Exactly. Crossing the old Rubiconium into the Octagonian. Yeah, buddy. The Octagonian. That's fucking awesome. Oh, shit. But yeah, what a victim narrative, right? Not even kidding. But, you know, crybabies will be crybabies. The more things change, the same tactics are recycled. I said that not too long ago. I said, man, it's kind of funny. Human beings just do not change, because we're reading about shit in 50 BC. We got the same shit going on nowadays. It's fucking wild, son. Wild. For most Romans, the choice of what side to pick was difficult. Only a small number of people were committed to one side or the other at the onset of hostilities. For example, Gaius Claudius Marcellus, who as consul in 50 BC had charged Pompey with defending the city, chose neutrality. Dick made Pompey do the dirty work and then was like, hey man, I'm neutral. We're cool, right? We're cool? I'm neutral? We're good? You're not gonna attack me. Like, wild. Wild. Holy shit, wild. Crazy shit. Then, the then young Marcus Janius Brutus. Fucking awesome. Let's be real. That's a pretty awesome name. Even though Brutus is kind of a dick, that's an awesome name. Marcus Janius Brutus, whose father had been treacherously killed by Pompey during Brutus' childhood, whose mother was Caesar's lover, and who had been raised in Cato the Younger's house, chose to leave the city. Well, I guess he kind of has an excuse to be a dick, doesn't he? He does kind of have an excuse to be a little asshole. Oh my god. E2 Brutus. Yep. Him too. setting off a post in Sicilia and thence to Pompey's camp. Caesar's most trusted lieutenant in Gaul, Titus Labienus, also defected from Caesar to Pompey, possibly due to Caesar's hoarding military glories or an earlier loyalty to Pompey. Double-crossing, trading little turd. Bastard. Oh. Caesar's timing for war was far-sighted. Italy was totally unprepared for an invasion. Caesar captured Arminium, modern-day Rimini, without resistance. His men having already infiltrated the city, he captured 3 more cities in quick succession, like a pimp. News of Caesar's incursion into Italy reached Rome around 17th of January. Took him long enough. In response, Pompey issued an edict in which he recognized a state of civil war, ordered all senators to follow him, and declared that he would regard as a partisan of Caesar anyone who remained behind. So they fled. They fled like little babies. Follow me if you wish to, not be on Caesar's side, but if you stay behind, you're a traitor. It's like, no, you're running away, you sissy. What are you doing? Pompey and his allies left the city, along with many uncommitted senators, fearing bloody reprisals of the previous civil wars. Other senators simply left Rome for their country villas, hoping to keep a low profile. Man, I don't mean to be that guy and point this out, but it almost seems like what the rich elites would do nowadays if people just decided to turn on them. I'm just saying. Wonder which leader was more like their subordinates and subjects. Sounds like more people like Pompey's with defection and Brutus's betrayal. Tacticus retreatus. But who knows? Bintalk, I think that a lot of propaganda had to do with it, because you got to remember at the beginning of all this, Caesar was in Gaul, right? And they tried to strip him of all of his power because he kept getting more and more powerful and conquering the shit out of Gaul. He kept garnering more and more public support. And nobody else was garnering as much public support, so they were like, fuck, we gotta, cut this guy down in some way to, level the playing field, or our political careers might be in jeopardy, right? So it was just a power struggle. And Caesar recognized it as a power struggle and went to regulate. He wasn't gonna play games. He wasn't gonna play their stupid games, and that's why I kind of respect him for doing this. Because he was like, what the hell is this bullshit? I'm out here conquering Gaul, our worst enemies right now, currently, right? And you sons of bitches are trying to take away my power and authority. No, hell no. Turns around, he's made a desperate attempt to keep some power and authority, and they were like, fuck you, and he was like, well, fine. You want to play that game? Fine, we'll play that game. And they were like, oh no. He's been at war in Gaul for God knows how long. He's got all these veteran soldiers that are just ready to fight. We better run like the little sissies we are. Liked on my phone. Sorry, makes sense? Yeah, no worries. So I think I honestly think he made the right decision by going back, right? In late January, Caesar and Pompey were negotiating, with Caesar proposing that the two of them return to their provinces, which would have required Pompey to travel to Spain and then disband their forces. Pompey accepted those terms, provided that they withdraw from Italy at once and submit to arbitration of the dispute by the Senate, a counteroffer that Caesar rejected, as doing so would have put him at the mercy of hostile senators while giving up all of the advantages of his surprise invasion. Caesar continued to advance. You don't want to agree to my terms, then I'm going to push forward. I'm going to poke a little bit harder. Look, I tried to give you a way out, and you're not willing to take it. You're trying to negotiate me into it. You think I'm stupid. Fine. I'm going to show you how stupid I am. He was throwing down making the empire great again, and they were trying to give him the 2-cent hooker treatment, and he noped that. Exactly. This is why I was kind of excited to go over this, because there's a lot of correlation. Like, you can kind of match it up, right? The division that the United States is currently observing is the same kind of division that was going on during the Roman Civil Wars. Now, was the public at war? No. And it may not be to the larger scale where we have two separate militaries of the same, you know what I mean, that are of the same nationality fighting each other, like our previous Civil War was. But there's still enough division to make a strong correlation. Yep. After encountering 5 cohorts under Quintus Minucius Thermus. Quintus Minucius Thermus. At Iguvium. God, the fucking names are so badass. I can't help it. Thermus' forces deserted. Of course they did. Caesar quickly overran Picenum. So, the reason that their forces quickly deserted is because you gotta remember, Caesar's troops are coming back battle-hardened from Gaul. He's fighting a bunch of, like, trainees and shit. Ah, shit, dude. Win. Win. While Caesar's troops skirmished once with local forces, fortunately for him, the population was not hostile. His troops were refraining from looting, and his opponents had little popular appeal. In February 49 BC, Caesar received reinforcements and captured Asculum when the local garrison deserted. Only when he reached Corfinium did he encounter serious opposition led by Lucius Domitius Ahenobarbus. Lucius Domitius Ahenobarbus. Dang. Quintessence of Minutiae of Thermoses. I'm telling... Wait, we've been fighting the most savage motherfuckers we've ever seen. What are these rookies gonna do? Die louder? That's hilarious. Fucking shit. Oh my god. Damn. Recently appointed... So, Lucius Domitius Ahenobarbus was recently appointed governor of Gaul by the Senate. Yeah, not really. You may have been appointed by the Senate, but Caesar's coming back from there. So who's really the governor of Gaul? I think Force has a lot to say about that one. Pompey had urged Ahenobarbus to retreat south and join him, but Ahenobarbus was not a sissy. He had responded with requests for support. Regardless, Caesar prepared for a siege. Caesar prepared for a siege. Well, at least Ahenobarbus wasn't a fucking wuss, man. Like, you know, quite honestly, at least he wasn't a damn wuss. Right? Like, shit. After Ahenobarbus received a letter from Pompey denying support, he claimed... Wow. And then Pompey's gonna be the little double-crossing, backstabbing a-hole and deny support. Hey, you should flee south and join me. Make me stronger. Now I'm gonna turn and defend our homeland. Alright, well, suit yourself. Hey man, you wanna come up here and maybe support me and we might actually take the W? Nah, we're chilling down here, man. I'm chilling, I'm all safe in my estate. Caesar the Sieger, yes. Let's go. After Ahenobarbus received a letter from Pompey denying support, he claimed help was on the way but was caught planning a personal escape. In response, dang, he was going to double-cross his own army. In response, his men arrested him and sent envoys to surrender to Caesar after a short week-long siege. Yeah, this is why earlier when you asked if it was the support, I just don't think it was, man. These guys are double-crossing little a-holes, dude. They're so self-serving. Like, Caesar at least had a purpose, right? And like a devotion to his nation and to his people. That's why he set out to subjugate Gaul in the first place. He was tired of all of the invasions. And he slayed in Gaul. He did a wonderful job in Gaul. Like, this is a story of a hero who just gets worked for no reason. And despite all of his victories, he still gets double-crossed. And in the end, which I think was Rome's biggest mistake, was unaliving this guy. I think that they should have just let him be emperor. And then there wouldn't have been the whole ordeal after that between Augustus and Mark Antony and all that bullshit, right? Rome was very backstabby. Yeah, and front stabby, and apparently all kinds of stabby. Shit. Among the surrendered were some 50 senators and equestrians, all of whom Caesar allowed to go free. I'm going to reread that. Among the surrendered were some 50 senators and equestrians, all of whom Caesar allowed to go free. Now, if we go back and rewind the show, I'm pretty sure we talked about why all the senators and Pompey fled south. They all thought Caesar was going to get all aggro on him and their lives were going to be cut short. No. Caesar just wanted subjugation. If you surrendered to him, he wasn't going to just mindlessly execute you for no reason. Doesn't make sense. It was probably why this was inevitable. They got M9R and they got more and more selfish as time went on. Yeah, they did. They did. Glory goes to your head. It certainly can, if you're not ready for it. When Corfinium's local magistrates handed over some 6 million sesterti, I'm assuming that that's money, sesterti, that Ahenobarbus had brought to pay his men, Caesar returned it to the men and asked them to take an oath of loyalty, which he did. The legend. Let's be real. The legend. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to take your money. I'm going to give it back to you guys. Just be loyal to me. That's all I ask. You know they took that. They were like, hell yes. Not only are we not getting tried and fucking, you know what I mean, all this other crazy shit that we know the Senate would do, but like, we get paid. Let's go. Hell yeah. Ha ha. Caesar's advance down the Adriatic coast was surprisingly clement and disciplined. His soldiers did not plunder the countryside as soldiers had during the Social War a few decades earlier. Nor did Caesar avenge himself on his political enemies as Sulla and Marius had. A policy of clemency was also highly practical. Clemency. A true leader, I'm telling you. Caesar is a fantastic leader. This guy, fucking legend. Man, Caesar's pacificity prevented the population of Italy from turning on him. Yes, it did. At the same time, Pompey planned to escape. Because they were like, this guy, if he had just done away with everybody, people would have thought he was a crazed, tyrannical fool. He was too smart for that. He wasn't about to let that happen. That's right. At the same time, Pompey planned to escape to east to Greece, where he could raise a massive army from the eastern provinces. He therefore escaped to Brundisium, modern Brindisi. Requisitioning merchant vessels to travel to the Adriatic. Caesar pursued Pompey to Brundisium, arriving on the 9th of March with 6 legions. By then, most of Pompey's forces had departed. With a rear guard of 2 legions waiting for transport while Caesar tried to block the harbor with earthworks and reopen negotiations. The earthworks were unsuccessful and Pompey refused to negotiate, escaping east with almost all of his men and all the ships in the region. The fucking legend. Brundisium, modern Vin Diesel. That's hilarious. Fuck. We're keeping our heads, that alone. Exactly, right? We're keeping our heads, that alone. But then at the same time, you get paid. Like, you gotta think what that does to a soldier that was just about to get double-crossed by their leader. They were about to just be left high and dry by their commanding officer, their leader, the guy that's supposed to be there with them, commanding them until the end, telling them, where to go, what to do, and how to execute exactly what strategies and tactics to execute to win the battle. That dude just was about to dip and say, F this, I'm out. F you guys, I don't care. You're all expendable. And then Caesar turns up and he's like, look, I know he treated you as if you were all expendable, as if you were all just numbers that he could be replaced. I'm not going to treat you that way. I have a different respect for you. I place value in you. Not only will I not try you and hold you accountable, but I'm going to allow you to keep the money that double-crossing fuck was about to, you know what I mean? Like, keep your pay. Just be loyal to me. And they're like, oh, yeah, man, you're the cooler guy anyways. You're the cooler guy. Like, let's be real here. I mean, this is basically all the content I had for today because I lost all the fucking battle sim animations. I don't even know what the hell happened to my battle simulator on my computer. There's a lot of things that are just missing since my computer decided to update by itself and shut down. I didn't tell it to do anything. In fact, I wasn't even in here at all today. And I come in here and it's like, oh, my computer had reset itself. What the hell? I guess it needed an update. Whatever. And then I'm looking through my shit and I'm like, man, half of my stuff is gone. This is not cool. Not cool at all. There's a lot of parkour videos that are lost. A lot of stuff was fucking just gone. Not a fan. Man, not a fan. It fits with the tactic of expansion by addition. Conquer an army, get them to join you under the promise of new lands conquered being for them. Kind of, right? I think Caesar pulled a lot of tactics from Alexander the Great. Because let's be real. Out of all of the ancient strategists and tacticians, there isn't one better than Alexander the Great. I know he did a lot of gay shit, and that's weird. We're not okay with that, but, like, all the sodomy aside, like, Alexander the Great was a legend as far as battles are concerned. Many times did this man encounter a civilization, or not like a civilization, like an enemy kingdom while he's going to conquer Asia. And he would just come up on him, and he's like, look, surrender, and then when I call for your armies, you send your armies, and then you can retain your power over your people even. Like, look, I'm not even going to take your power. You can still be king. You can still have your own army. You can still do your own thing. You are just under the umbrella of my empire now. Right? So when I call, you come. And many of them were just like, you know what? If there's no loss, and I can avoid losing half my army fighting you, even though I might win, I still get to save all of those people, all that bloodshed, and all I have to do is, when you call for battle, come and help you? Fine, I can send you troops. I'd rather send you troops and maximize both of our chances of winning than fight you, deplete my, you know what I mean, deplete my army, and then have my neighbors come and attack me and then take me over because I was weak. Right? It's strategically advantageous. And Alexander the Great knew this. He was not stupid. And neither is Caesar. There's another guy who's super badass. Like, I know he catches a lot of shit, but Napoleon, like, come on, man. That guy's a champ. I know he catches a lot of shit, but Napoleon's pretty badass. You're running on dregs? Sorry you're tired and on a goofy mood? Yeah, me too. I'm fucking tired too. Probably hear it in my voice, man. Shit. All the grass is dying. It's turning into fall, so it's just like, I have the worst allergies, and I swear, man, for like the last week I've had this sinus headache where it just feels like my eyes are gonna explode out of my forehead. Same with my nose. There's just a bomb detonating behind my face, and it's like, and then I still have to work. I still have like a small farm, but albeit a farm to take care of. Like, it's a lot. Especially having started the new company. Which is not, I'm not complaining about it because that's fucking awesome. I'm happy about that. That's been a dream of mine for a long time. To have a company where I can design experimental aircraft and or just build planes for people because I like fucking aviation. I just like everything to do with flying. I definitely have to do the Napoleonic Wars though one of these times. Maybe I'll do that before World War I and II. We'll do Napoleonic Wars. Because that guy's kind of a legendary tactician, too. Napoleon was smart? Hell yeah, he was. Dude was a genius. Dude was a genius. He was the only French man to not run around with a white flag. He won more battles than he surrendered. There was a time when France was a force to be reckoned with. I mean, speaking of aviation, if I'm not mistaken, France was the first country to develop radial engines. Yep. The first radial engine was a water-cooled 5-cylinder engine built in 1901. Oh, no, it wasn't. It was by an American engineer. Holy shit. Never mind. Thought it was developed by the French. Oh no, the French were just the first to put it in a fucking warplane. Okay. Well, fuck them too. They're like, we'll use radio engines. And then by the end of that war, everybody's using inline engines, and the Merlin engine is just the champ. WUK, W Rolls-Royce. Man. Goddamn Marginal line. Yeah, I mean, we both know why the French surrendered in World War II. Yeah, of course. Of course. But, like, let's be real here. Fucking Rolls-Royce, man. The legends. They were like, back in the day, we're talking like 1930s. These dudes are like, well, we've got one supercharger on this V10. Let's slap another one on the back, and we'll make it dual supercharged. Need more power? Just add more superchargers. Ah, WUK, man. Holy shit. That's one of the best things. And, like, can't really give a shout out to the Americans because it's really the Merlin engine that's what made the P-51 Mustang, like, nasty. Because the Allison engine at the time was just, it was balls. Didn't perform well at high altitudes. It like, had all kinds of sharp turn. Like, if you're taking a high G turn, it had all kinds of issues with that and whatever else. But you have Rolls-Royce Merlin engines just like, fuck it, I don't care what altitude you're at. I'm pumping it, bro. Like, let's go. You know what? Why not? Hold on. The Rolls-Royce Merlin is a British liquid-cooled... Oh, it's a V12, sorry. Piston aero engine of 27 liters. Capacity. Rolls-Royce designed the engine and first ran it in 1933 as a private venture. Initially known as the PV-12, it was later called Merlin, following the company convention of naming its four-stroke piston aero engines after birds of prey. The engine benefited from the racing experiences of precursor engines in the 1930s. After several modifications, the first production variants of the PV-12 were completed in 1936. The first operational aircraft to enter service using the Merlin was the Ferry Battle Hawker Hurricane and Supermarine Spitfire. The Merlin remains most closely associated with the Spitfire and the Hurricane, although the majority of the production run was for the four-engine Avro Lancaster heavy bomber. The Merlin continued to benefit from a series of rapidly applied developments derived from experiences in use since 1936. These markedly improved the engine's performance and durability, starting at 1,000 horsepower for the first production models. Most late-war versions produced just under 1,800 horsepower, and the very latest version, as used in the de Havilland Hornet, over 2,000 horsepower. One of the most successful aircraft engines of the World War II era, some 50 versions of the Merlin were built by Rolls-Royce in Derby, Crewe, and Glasgow, as well as by Ford of Britain and their Trafford Park factory, which is interesting. By Ford of Britain, near Manchester. A derated version was also the basis of the Rolls-Royce Rover Meteor tank engine. Post-war, the Merlin was largely superseded by the Rolls-Royce Griffin for military use, with most Merlin variants being designed and built for airliners and military transport aircraft. The Packard V1650 was a version of the Merlin built in the United States. Production ceased in 1950 after a total of almost 150,000 engines had been delivered. Merlin engines remain in Royal Air Force service today, with the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight, and power many restored aircraft in private ownership worldwide. Yes, Merlin engines from the 1930s. Still relevant today like fucking badass motherfucking shit, dude. Let's go Rolls Royce. Considering Ford himself, yeah, that's really... Exactly, he was super isolationist, dude. He was like, yeah, we're only making defensive weapons for the United States. Like, fuck you. That's why he refused to make the engines, and they had to go with a different company. Merlin's. 27 liters, 7 jugs of milk? Oh, shit. Merlin's like, I have 2 hearts, I can run all day, right? Hey, Chase Williams, welcome in. Hair dryer, pasteurization, parachute, calculator, photovolt effect, bicycle, hot air balloon, stethoscopes. French did some shit. Yeah, they did. They did do some shit. You're not wrong. You are not wrong. Yeah, I was watching some shit earlier on that today, and I was like, dang, dude. Let's go WUK and their fucking Rolls-Royce Merlin engines, man. Just fuck. I mean, they kind of had to. Like, let's think about that for a second, though. They kind of had to. Because they lost air superiority to the Luftwaffe shortly after the Battle of Britain. Right? Like, they fucking... The German Luftwaffe had 2 new planes that were fucking pretty agile. But then... good old England was like, yeah, we didn't have a massive world empire for fucking nothing. Nope. Nope. We're gonna do our thing. Goes pretty good. Just got through the first small portion of the Roman Civil War. Just after Caesar had inhabited Rome and Pompey fled to Greece. I think that's where we left off, right? Whoa. Wait a minute now. Hold on. Yep. It was Pompey fleeing to Greece. So then, next time we're going to continue. I'm going to try and recover all the shit that I lost. I'm so pissed. I'm not even kidding you. I'm like, genuinely frustrated. Where did half of my shit on my computer go? Blows my mind. Like, updated without my permission, 1, and 2, it fucking deleted half my shit. Like, bruh, did I get hacked? Like, that's another thing. It's like, did I get hacked? It's a good thing I don't do any banking shit on this computer. Like, not a single thing I've done on this computer has anything to do with banking. So, fuck, if I got hacked, oh well. But, like, dude, what the hell? You feel that? Yeah. Goes good, just too tired to think much? Yeah. You know, usually by this time, 1:42 in the morning, I'm too tired to think much, too. That's why I do a whole lot of reading and drink nothing but coffee. Ah, shit. But, yeah, next time we're going to cover Pompey getting his ass kicked. Because, while he does win a couple, he takes some pretty massive L's. And then Caesar goes and cleans shop. He's just like, you know what, I'm going to go find all the stragglers. And then declares himself dictator for life. Like a true legend. Like a true legend. Let's go. For those of you who don't know, I have nothing wrong. Like, I see nothing wrong and I have no problems with a full-blown dictatorship. I really don't. If it's run by an effective leader, I really don't see the problem of a full-blown dictatorship. Ah, but power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Does it? There's many cases in history where a, leader has had basically absolute power. And they've done just fine. In fact, they've more than benefited the people that they conquered. Just throwing that out there. Might be worth a look up. Re-indexing your hard drive? Maybe. Maybe I'll check that out for sure. Like I said, I'm not very good with computers, so like, it could have just stored it internally somewhere too, in some file that I just don't know exists. But when I go into the search bar on my computer and try and search up specific things, like, for instance, a 19-year-old clip of some parkour shit, right? And it's like, well, where the hell did that go? Like, that video just doesn't disappear into thin air. Where the fuck did it go? You know what I mean? I have it on my phone, thankfully. I mean, I'd be able to get it regardless again because all of those clips are in the intro video. Thank God. All of the clips that were on my computer are in my parkour or my PKFRX intro video that I actually put out today. Put out 2 videos today. The intro video for the aviation prattle, which is just another name for chill stream, because that's probably what I'm going to be talking about on just about every chill stream I do. But yeah, I made an intro video for that, and then I put out the park or the PKFRX intro video that I just ceased to put it out since I started the damn channel in the first place. Like, post it separately. I don't know. I'm still noob. Still a noob. Still a noob, taking L's every time I stream live. Even the intro video for Battle Tactics and War Strategies has one mistake that drives me nuts every time I go live. It drives me fucking nuts. As I'm sitting here with the producer in front of me just watching the intro going, and then, man, it's that one thing I didn't edit out. I'm like, fuck. Damn it. Damn it. Oh, well, I'm keeping it because it would take too much time and effort to go back in there, edit it out, and then put something for that, like, 1 second to fill in the time slot to still make it fucking, the same way that, I don't know. Just gonna leave it. Just gonna leave it until I make a new one, because eventually I'll make a new one. Especially when I get, better at animating, then I'll definitely make a new one. Shit. I can do that. Maybe. Maybe. Well, I guess I have all the videos on my phone, yeah. I'll do it later. I'm not gonna do all this shit while I'm on stream. That's weird. That shit's weird to me. Content creators start doing all kinds of personal matters, trying to figure out personal shit on stream. It's like, what the fuck? Do that in your off time. Come on now. I'm not gonna sit here in silence for like 5 minutes while I try and figure out technology. That's fucking wild to me, y'all. Wild to me. However, I could play the aviation prattle intro just for the fuck of it. I mean, I could technically play both of the videos that I uploaded today for the hell of it. Why the hell not? Why the hell not? Because they're entertaining and music is fun. Whoa. Gotta love it when that shit happens. Alright. I'm gonna play Aviation Prattle intro first, and then the PKFRX intro. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Give me uno momento. Production quality is trash. Oh, I'm just kidding. It's not that bad. Come on. Come on. I'm alright at streaming. For somebody who spent 3 years on Facebook playing video games and only had one scene to deal with, which was this one. This is basically the only scene that I had to switch between this one starting soon and ending. That's all I had. Because on Facebook, you can't do anything like you can do on YouTube. Like these fucking intro videos, you can't make them on Facebook. Immediate copyright. And like, you'll get copyright hit by like 19 people at the same time. And it's like, fighting all those copyrights is just annoying as shit. So it was like, fuck it. I'm just gonna like sit here and voice act some fucking video games like Chrono Trigger and shit like that. You know what I mean? Final Fantasy 6 and 4 and 5 and no, I don't think I did 7. I kinda did 8, right? And then that's what kind of got me like, because I did different voices when I fucking streamed 8, and then I was like, you know what, I could fucking do that. I could do this. So then I tested it out with Chrono Trigger, and my audience was super stoked about it. They were like, fuck yeah, that's pretty sick. And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to try Final Fantasy 6 next, which required me to do 30 some odd different voices, which was really fucking hard and took like a month to fucking beat. Holy shit, that was a task. But that's why I can do the old man voice and switch back and forth really, really, really easily just back to my normal voice. Or I can just be fucking, super retarded. I can just be fucking retarded. Go back to my normal voice. Or just be an old guy. It's almost like I'm having a conversation with myself. It was fun. It was fun. It was difficult, but it was fun. Alright. I'm going to play the intro videos, and then I'm going to run to the restroom at the same time. So I'll be back in like 3.5 minutes. Okay? Okay. Hold on.
Face to face I found my pain beneath the lies and broken dreams. Lost the love I had in me, it tore me apart, fade away. I felt so lost, but I held on to what I had. For what it's worth, if you're feeling low, just know that you can, yes you can. There's life in love that you hold. Rise above and let it glow. Just know that it's never too late to make a change. Crash and burn, I found myself beneath the emptiness. Wanting more, I let it go. Holding on to love. Breaking through, I feel alive. For once in my life, I'ma live by the want to be all I can. Let the rest just crash and burn. Crash and burn. Oh, 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 let it crash and burn. This one for the person who feels alone. This one for the hero who has no home. This one for the one who live for hope. Changing better days. Pick your head up, keep on fighting, living, loving. Make your mind up. If you want it, take it, fly away, soaring high above the clouds. Hear the voices calling out. All you want love. Crash and burn, I found myself beneath the emptiness. Make your mind up. Wanting more, I let it go. Holding on to love. Breaking through, I feel alive. For once in my life, I'ma live by the want to be all I can. Let the rest just crash and burn. Let the rest just crash and burn.
Yup. Man, it's crazy to think that all those kids are fucking adults now. That's a trip. It's a fucking trip. They're all a bunch of little badasses. I tell you. Very proud. Very proud of every single one of my students that I've ever had. All them fucking kids are amazing. Telling you. So yeah, those are the two intros that I posted today. So if you could hop over after the stream and drop a like on them, that'd be fucking amazing. That'd really help out. Really, really help out. All teachers find that a trip? Yeah. Yeah, they do. And parents. I'm telling you. Well, you know, like, some of them kids, man, I've known since they were, 7? 6, 7 years old. Like, very first parkour class I ever taught was in a park in Peoria, Arizona. Just a public park. I was teaching my cousins how to do some parkour in the park. And, this random guy, I guess was one of the parents of some kids in the neighborhood, just rolls up out of nowhere And he was like, I was driving by after I picking up the kids the other day from school, and I noticed you were teaching, these youngsters how to do some cool stuff, how to be like a ninja. And that's where I got the whole ninja thing. I started laughing. I was like, yeah. He was like, well, how much I gotta pay you to teach my kids? And I never thought about that. I was like, I don't know. Shit, I guess we could work something out, right? So, I worked it out with him, and then I guess he let some of the other parents in the neighborhood know, and they were like, oh, it's a great after-school activity. It keeps them physically active. It helps them focus. It gives them critical thinking. It, teaches them, first off, bodily control, like physical, you know what I mean? Your neuromuscular efficiency is, unmatched when you practice parkour on a regular basis. Other than critical thinking, creative thinking, you get mental stability, you get physical stability, strength, stamina, endurance, confidence, competence. There's all kinds of shit that parkour brings you. All kinds of benefits. It's fucking amazing. I would argue that parkour is probably the most beneficial sport as far as physical fitness is concerned. I think that some of the world's most elite athletes, as far as human movement is concerned, are parkour athletes. And I think a lot of this shit that parkour athletes do isn't as amazing as it looks, right? It's like, oh, that's so amazing. They do all that ninja shit. It's like, yeah, but when you really get down to it, it's all just repetition and getting over your fears, right? So, and that's why I say parkour develops your courage and your confidence. Is you just get over so many fears, going backwards, rolling over your side, landing on something, hurting yourself, blah, blah, blah. You just get over all the fears, right? So, anything with a sub-level of intensity to that kind of a fear it doesn't even affect you, right? You just take risks and on a more regular basis because you're not worried about small consequences, right? That I've been for instance, there's not another person on this planet that could hit me as hard as I've hit the ground, right? He's running on water tension? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'm telling you, no. Seriously, though. I was already in martial arts, so, let me explain my martial arts parkour background, okay? From the time I could use my tiny little legs, right? Back when I was a wee little lad, just a fucking little guy. From the time I could use my tiny little legs, my very young, athletic parents were like, nah, fuck it, we're going out in the wilderness and you're coming with. We're gonna go hike through all of the mine shafts and out in the forest and shit up in fucking Illinois. We're just gonna fucking mob everywhere. But my feet hurt. Yeah, suck it up. Okay, fine. And my parents taught me other kind of, I guess, technically coping mechanisms, right? It's my feet hurt, my legs hurt, my knees hurt, blah, blah, blah. It's well, turn it into a game. Try and jump from this rock to this rock to this rock. Not realizing that they're incentivizing me to do parkour because parkour wasn't really a thing back then, right? It wasn't there's parkour is an established sport and everybody no. Back in back in the early 90s, this was not a thing, right? So fucking at least it wasn't a popular thing, right? It wasn't like mainstream. There wasn't YouTube where you can go look up a parkour and freerunning compilation and watch people do cool shit. It wasn't like that. Wrestle bears? Yeah, exactly. So, anyways. Then, we moved to Arizona, and it's, let's go fucking hiking. Thunderbird Mountain, fucking Camelback Mountain, Four Peaks out in Sycamore Creek, goddamn, you name it, right? We're going there. Rio Verde River, Grand Canyon, the Meteor Crater, etc., 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 etc. So I just kind of got used to doing, like, random little parkour things, jumping from one thing to another, climbing, jumping off of stuff, etc., etc. I got used to that at a really young age. And then I'd get picked on by some of the other kids in the neighborhood. And I didn't like it. One day I came home with a bloody lip and a black eye. My dad was like, yeah, we're not having this shit. Putting you in some kind of fighting. I was like, well, I don't want to be in boxing. He was like, well, I don't want you to be in fucking karate, because that shit's lame. And I was like, okay, well, what about taekwondo? He was like, fine, I'll put you in taekwondo only because it's extremely physically demanding to do all those acrobatics, right? Okay, fine. Taekwondo, first martial arts. Was in it for years. Awesome. One, learned how to defend myself from bullies. So, from that point on, didn't really get bullied. It's like, didn't happen. Once everybody else found out that I was in Taekwondo, they were just like, yeah, not fucking with that kid anymore. Like, alright, fuck, cool. Sweet, it's a deterrent. It works. Just learn how to fight. People know you know how to fight. They just don't fuck with you. Cool. Sweet. I mean, I did get picked on here and there. But it was usually at school, not in the neighborhood, right? It was like by kids that fucking didn't really know me outside of school. And that only happened up until 6th grade, where it was like I just decided I didn't give a shit whether I got suspended or not anymore. I'm punching this kid's top teeth through his top lip, right? And we got in a school fight, and it was all bad and whatever else. Nobody got suspended, though, because at this point, I was living with my grandparents in Missouri. And in Missouri, teachers they're not adverse to roughhousing, quote unquote. All the teacher said was, y'all stop roughhousing. Cody, go see the nurse. Ah, shit. Good times in my childhood. No, there was a lot of actual, like, questionable things I did in my childhood growing up. Let's just say I talked a lot of shit knowing that nobody was going to be able to do anything about it. I still do that. Still talk a lot of shit. May not be like, I'm not like a dick, right? I'm not going to insult you directly or anything like that. In fact, you can see that if you watch Verbal Combat from the time I basically showed up on the show until now. Like, very rarely do I attack the person directly that I'm debating. I just don't do that. I don't need to resort to attacking you directly. However, I'm very, very good at letting you humiliate yourself. And so people get frustrated, and that's where a lot of shit begins. Right? Now I'm old, and I don't do that shit anymore. And I don't advocate for it. I never really advocated for starting fights. It's not like I really went out and started a whole bunch of fights in my day. Maybe a couple. But all of them were justified. The couple of fights that I started were, one, started and immediately finished. And they were all fucking, like, not... They were due to some serious bullshit that was, like, justifiably, this dude needs to learn a lesson. Sometimes the only lesson men are going to learn from other men is a swift knock to the face. Unfortunate. But it gets the point across, right? However, I don't advocate for violence. I'm not advocating for violence. In fact, I advocate for no violence. If there's a diplomatic solution, take it. By all means. There's no sense in getting yourself all roughed up or anybody else all roughed up in the process. Just if you can let it go, let it the fuck go. It's not that big a deal. The great teacher Onizuka. That's how I wish our teachers were like. Yeah, dude. The great teacher Onizuka. I haven't seen that, but I'm gonna fucking watch it. It sounds cool. It's how I wish our teachers... I wish our teachers were like... on a whole nother tier of stoicism. We got a lot of emotional teachers out there, men and women. Like, I understand men are far oftentimes better teachers than women. I know that's a sexist thing to say, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I don't care how you feel about that. It just is how it is. Men are more strict. They're way better at compartmentalizing various bits of information and way better at expressing various bits of information in full detail because we can separate emotion from information. Women have a hard time doing that. And you'll find, oftentimes, you'll come across a female teacher that will leave specific parts of something out because, oh, I don't jive with that. Or that just makes me feel weird. I'm not gonna say that. Like, oh my God. Who says that? Like, that's weird. Why is that in the curriculum? Like, no. And now the child is dumber because you decided to leave it out because it makes you feel weird. Meanwhile, the male teacher would be like, huh. Well, so this, like, we need more logic and less emotion. But we also need a restructuring of the education system entirely. Fucking Rockefellers. God damn it. I want a nation of workers, not thinkers. Yeah, fuck you. I want a nation of brilliant people, because now all we have is TikTok brain and it's driving me nuts. Like, shit. People can't think of fucking in a linear, fashion. At all. It's crazy. Oh my God. The level of back crack is unreal. I need to get a new chair. This fucking chair sucks. But what can you do? At any rate, people think and speak in captions. Yeah, or headlines. Captions or headlines, most certainly. I wouldn't disagree with that at all, Shane. I really wouldn't. But nobody wants to hear my solution. It's effective. It would work. You want to straighten shit out real quick? I have a very, very effective solution. Works every time. Just saying. Works every time. Can't necessarily say it. And no, for all you people in the chat thinking I'm alluding to some kind of quote-unquote final solution, that's not what I'm talking about. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a solution to all the feminist bullshit and crybaby nonsense in our country. That's what I'm talking about. I have a solution to that. It is. Put a chick in it. Make her gay and lame. Smash in the head with a frying pan. With a frying pan? Is that the solution? No. It's a very simple solution. And it's actually a very probable near future solution. That if, I just kind of let things play out, it'll probably happen anyways. Basic training. I mean, yeah, Shane, in a way. In a way. Yes. Yes. It's definitely a part of it. It's definitely a part of it. Now, I think the way or the direction the world's currently heading in, it's a solution that'll just naturally happen, and we're not going to necessarily have to deal with all the feminist bullshit anymore. You're going to watch a whole bunch of women straighten out their attitudes real fucking quick. And you're going to watch a lot of dudes man up real fucking quick. Because when that becomes the only option, well, can't do much else, can you? Hate to say it. But this is why I say, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, that war is an unfortunate, necessary evil that human beings must go through because we get too goddamn complacent. And when we get too complacent and we get too bored, we look for drama and we like to argue and bicker and fight about stupid nonsense like what the fuck a woman is. And all of that can just be recorrected by making the populace have a singular focus, which is the nation's survival and not the annihilation of the people. Oh shit, look at that. Yes, we make ourselves subservient to artificial intelligence. No! No! No AI. Shit's already bad enough. Got all kinds of fucking shit going on with AI. It's just, I don't like it. Not a fan. Not a fan. Like, I'll get it to a certain extent, maybe, right? I would be okay with AI to a certain extent. Okay, if we're talking about gaming, right? If we're gonna go into the gaming sector, I think AI would make gaming really sick. It'd make it really fucking cool, because then the NPCs wouldn't be so NPC. You know what I mean? I think AI could make gaming really badass. But having it run infrastructure and make decisions for humanity? I don't like it. I don't like it. Right? You can make a completely informed decision based off of statistics, and that decision still be the wrong decision. And I think human beings having multiple ways to arrive at conclusions, right? Like, for instance, I use Andrew Wilson's coming to orthodoxy, right? He says he came to it logically, okay, before faithfully and religiously. That's what brought him to it. He came to it logically. It's words out of his own mouth. If I'm not mistaken, if I'm totally mistaken, somebody correct me, right? And I'll take the L on that if that's the case. Maybe somebody said that to him. I'll just put that, out there. But I'm almost positive I've heard him say he came to it logically, right? Which is basically where Brian from whatever is headed. He's coming to Christianity logically. Okay? So, but Andrew recognizes the distinction between logically, right, and then faithfully, or emotionally, or whatever you want to call it, right? There's a distinction there. It's not that there's a distinction in, emotional intelligence, because I think that's fucking retarded. I don't agree with that whole concept of emotional intelligence. Maybe if you switch the word intelligence with mastery, I might agree with it. Because I think that emotions are something you can master. Otherwise, we wouldn't have stoic people. You know? We wouldn't have people who have been ran through the gauntlet and still choose to be happy. And so, I think there's a level of mastery, not necessarily intelligence. And like, you can argue that to have a mastery of something, you have to have an intelligence of it. Okay, whatever. When you're talking about emotions, you're talking about feelings. Okay? I want to point something out. Anger reduces your IQ. Being content reduces your IQ. Being at high alert increases your IQ. It also increases your perceptive awareness, all kinds of other things, right? So, your intelligence is kind of based on your mood. If you have a mastery of your mood, you have a mastery over your intelligence. And so I think your intellectual, there's still a distinction between intellect and emotion, right? So wrapping it all back, artificial intelligence comes to conclusions based on an amalgam of information. There's no emotive processor there, right? Like, for instance, the whole, what is that little thought experiment with the 5 people on the track and the one person on the other track, and do you pull the lever to make the train go over the one person or the 5 people? And everybody's always got a nuance for it, right? Notice that. Most people don't just answer that question outright. Everybody's got a little... Well, it depends on who the 5 people are and who the one person is. Are the 5 people... You know what I mean? Like... There's a reason for that, right? You got to understand why human beings do that. The trolley. Yeah, the trolley. That's what it is. The trolley experiment, right? Human beings do that because they want to justify a decision so they don't feel bad about making a wrong decision, right? Oh, well, I'm going to justify it however which way I justify it, but most people choose the one person over the 5 with no given information. You ask an AI to do it, they're going to do the same thing. AI is going to choose 1 over the 5 based on calculations of what it reads online. Oh, everybody wants preservation of life, so I'm going to choose the 1 over the 5. Then you come to find out that one person was quite possibly the most legendary human being walking the earth in today's day and age, Keanu Reeves. And the other 5 were all on that flight list to that little fucking island. Damn it, should have picked the 5. Right? AI wouldn't be able to delineate that kind of, you know what I mean? Like that kind of a decision. It would just make the decision based off of statistics. I'm not kidding. AI would not be able to make that kind of a decision. It just wouldn't. I mean, prove me wrong. Fuck, man. Maybe I don't know a whole shit ton about AI, and I really don't. Just what I've read and what I've fucking, listened to on random fucking documentaries. Okay, so this is one of the most interesting facts about me, right? I don't watch shit. Like, there's very few shows that I watch that are not just flat out documentaries. I think I watch Grid One, and most of the time Grid One's on during the day. I'm working, so I'm more so listening to Grid One in my pocket, and then I'll chime in the chat every now and then. Occasionally I'll catch Glenn's stream if I'm not streaming myself or sleeping, because Glenn starts a stream sometimes at like 3:34 in the morning. Like, so he streams hella late, right? So I'll catch his stream sometimes if he streams earlier. I like Glenn, he's a cool guy. The Whatever Podcast, every Sunday and Tuesday. And then I try to catch Speak when he goes live. I don't catch him every time, but I do my best, right? Speakeasy is one of my favorite YouTube content creators. I'm not gonna lie. Like, guy's a genius. I think Verbal Combat is fucking amazing. I think the Ultimate Verbal Championship is fucking amazing. I think dude's a legend for coming up with that shit. Champion. But yeah, I'll try and catch his content, and most of that is to support other content creators that I enjoy their content, right? Like Andrew Wilson. Every time Andrew Wilson streams, whether I'm working or not, dude's in my pocket and I'm listening to it, or it's on my TV and I'm watching it, right? You're not laughing at the ideas you presented at this difference between humans and artificial intelligence? Yeah. But I mean, you understand what I'm saying, though, right? Like, I don't watch TV. I haven't watched cable TV in fucking years. Like, 8 years. Easy 8 years since I've watched cable TV. Like, CNN or NBC or any of the news shows, or, like, anything like Friends or How I Met Your Mother or any of that stupid shit that's on, like, whatever channel. I can't even remember the names of the fucking channels anymore, man. Like Fox? I don't know. Holy shit. It's been a long time since I've watched some TV. It's literally just like, on my TV I have YouTube because it's a fucking smart TV, right? Since smart TVs came out. Like, I've just been able to use my freaking... You're surprised cable TV has managed to survive this long? Yeah, exactly. Same, dude. Same. Same thing with fucking mainstream media, like mainstream news. I'm surprised they've been able to last as long as they do. I'm like, man, y'all must have some freaking ancient people watching or something. Fuck. The only reason you know The Simpsons is still producing new shit is because of YouTube? Yeah. Or like Facebook or Instagram Reels. Right? You might see a new episode clip on either of the social medias, but like, literally, YouTube is the one streaming service that I normally use, and I'm watching stuff like shoutouts to Dronescapes, right? I watch that channel a lot. I watch Mentor Pilot and Mentor Now a lot. Let's see, 7-4 Gear, a lot. Pilot Debrief, I watch that guy too. Hoover's pretty fucking cool guy. I watch a lot of aviation shit. And then other than that, it's like Kings and Generals documentaries, or like history hit documentaries, like all kinds of random history documentaries. It's like, if I'm not learning something, then I'm wasting my time. That's literally how I feel and how I've felt my whole life. If I'm not learning or doing something productive, I'm wasting my time. Like, even streaming, right? So, I'll explain this too. I used to do voice acting streams of video games. I saw Ben talk earlier. You said something like, you wanted me and Easy. Yeah, you would like me, Speak Easy, and Shiva to dub lots of games. Dude, I'm willing to do some stuff like that. Honestly, I really am. If it's like collaborating with other content creators, right? Because then it's got a more entertainment value to it. It's a more creative something, and it's like, it's working with other content creators, right? It's developing a skill as a group rather than me just playing video games online, right? Like, that shit always felt weird, even though I did it for so long. It felt weird to do. Every time I'd go live, I'd be like, man, I'm playing video games for other adults. Like, this is fucking weird to me. It's fucking weird to me that, like, other adults will sit here and watch me fucking, like, granted, I would make it more entertaining than just playing the game, right? I get it. There's a lot of video game streamers out there that don't make it entertaining in the least bit. So, you know, I would try to make it at least entertaining. But, like, still. And then, after watching, the only reason, it's called government funding. Really bad in Canada? Really? Really? Government funding is responsible for keeping them on the air, huh? That's very interesting, Shane. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. But, what was I gonna say? Something like, I totally forgot where the fuck I was. Brain fart. It is what it is. Basically, the point is... Oh, I know where I was at. Okay, so... I was, like, watching, I can't remember... I think it was Fresh and Fit. I think it was Myron. Who was like... It's kind of funny because now... This was a while back. It was like 3 years ago. He was making fun of gaming streamers, right? He was like, oh, we're out here teaching you guys how to do this and this and this and that. And we're providing all this content for you that's like a benefit to society, right? And I thought about that for a minute. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I should change my content entirely. And this was right around the time that I was like, kind of over streaming on Facebook, because the way Facebook algorithm works is just literal ass. So I was just over it. I was like, yeah, I'm going to probably switch to YouTube. And then I made the switch to YouTube, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to stream if I'm not going to stream games. And then I was like, well, I could do some parkour review stuff. But then that gets into my views on review content and reaction, quote-unquote, content. Man, that shit drives me nuts, too. I know a lot of people do it, and I ain't got nothing against them. Y'all do you, right? But, like, personally for me, I can't do the reaction stuff. I just can't do it. It's like, makes me feel like I'm lacking in creativity. Like, oh, I don't have anything else to do today, so I'm just going to react to this. And then default back on some other bullshit. Like, no, I could find something entertaining to read, at least. At least something of value to provide to the community. Like, for instance, at the end of the Roman Civil War part that we've done today, part 1. I read a whole thing about the Maryland engine, right? So, like, I could find something interesting to talk about on my own. I don't need to react to other people's content. So reacting to parkour content was like, turned into this whole I'm going to break it down kind of thing. And then it was like that in and of itself was kind of weird. And I started getting fucking, you know, a couple of messages from people like, hey, you know, we pay you for this kind of shit, right? Like, don't put that shit out there for free. If you're gonna, I'm like, oh yeah, duh, that's right. Most of my parkour students are online students. I get paid for this shit. Well, that defeats the purpose of having a fucking parkour channel, doesn't it? Alright, well, to keep it fair to my clients, I can't necessarily teach parkour on YouTube. So breaking it down and then the reaction content is kind of out the window, isn't it? Fucking jealous people, man, I tell you. Okay, fine. I'll do something else. So then I started the Greatness of Men series, right? Where I was just talking about, like, all of the great men throughout history, and not all of them. I didn't even I didn't even scratch the fucking surface. But I've got like 9 or 10 episodes of, different guys throughout, and there's more than 9 or 10. There's like, some of the videos have 2 or 3 of different, great dudes that I went over in them, and their achievements and all kinds of other stuff. And then, because I kept reading about all their fucking conquest achievements, I was like, man, damn it. I just like reading and talking about war too much. I'm just going to start a series about war and battle tactics. Call it Battle Tactics and War Strategies with a Ninja. Because every good ninja is up on their battle tactics and war strategies. So I'll just do that, and that'll be fun. And like, I'll make it interactive. It'll be like an interactive docu-series where the chat can kind of interact, and they can decide what they want me to go over next. We'll go over it. They can give their input, their different thoughts, and like point out different strategies as we go along. Like, oh, this guy's fucking doing that. Or like, when you guys were calling out fucking old boy for being a sissy and shit. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of stuff. Can't do that with like History Channel documentaries. You're relegated to the couch and the TV. Like, never before has there been an interactive docuseries where you actually get to make jokes at the commentator and then have those jokes read back as part of the documentary. Like, fuck yeah, that's awesome. That makes it way more entertaining. That makes it way more entertaining than just your standard documentary. So that's why I chose to do the whole Battle Tactics and War Strategies with the Ninja. And because every chill stream I talk about aviation, that's where the whole aviation thing came from, right? But anyways, all of this started because I was telling my backstory on parkour and martial arts. I started martial arts when I was fucking 8 years old. Been doing it ever since. And I started parkour long before that. But I started officially training in parkour and like taking it on as an actual thing. As far as parkour and free running, like the sport parkour and free running, I had not heard of it until I was in fucking wushu in high school. Right? I think I was like 15 years old when I had first heard the term parkour and free running. And I was like, the hell is that? Like, oh, it's just like, like tracers. And I was like, what the fuck is a tracer? What the fuck is a parkour? What the hell? And then one of these kids that was really good at doing flips in the martial arts class I was in was like, oh, come hang out with me on this day. We're going to fucking do some parkour in downtown Phoenix. And I was like, all right, fuck it. So I went to downtown Phoenix and fucking, hung out with them that day, and they showed me what parkour and free running was, and I was like, oh, this is dope. This is the dopest I've been doing this my whole life. Let me show you what I can do. And I started showing off, and everybody's like, holy shit, you knew what this was. You knew it. You just fucking around. I'm like, no. I'd never heard of this before in my life. I just do this for fun, like out just in the world. They're like, what? Really? You'd never heard of parkour? I'm like, yeah, I swear to God, I've never heard of it a day in my life, man. I'm fucking shit. I just do this shit for fun. Whatever. Right? So that's how all that whole random ass fucking diatribe started, was me talking about the back history of martial arts and parkour. It's been my whole life, right? I don't do much. I got my swords, got my firearms, got my martial arts. Damien Core? Yeah, exactly. Got my parkour. Got my flips, got my dogs, got my planes, and that's about it. That's about it. That's all I got. I don't do much more than that. I mean, I got a couple of goats and some chickens and some other fucking shit, but whatever. I'm moving halfway across the country in a couple months, so no, I don't. Oh. My sister gets to take care of all that shit. So, yeah, that being said, got parkour, got planes, got dogs, got martial arts, and that's my life. It's my life. I mean, I got YouTube now. I was asked the other day, it was funny, I was asked the other day by somebody on Facebook through Messenger. They were like, why do you still stream? Like, what? Like, I think they were trying to make a jab at me or something. I don't know if it was like a troll or whatnot. Like, I genuinely don't know. But it seemed like it at first. By the end of it, it didn't really seem like they were trying to be a dick, but it was just like kind of an off-base question at first, because it's like, why do you still stream? You only have like 5 viewers. You don't even have 100 followers on YouTube. It's like, well, let me put it this way. I live so far out in the middle of fucking nowhere, to go hang out with anyone would be like an hour-and-a-half drive. Okay? So that's going to cost me copious amounts of money just to hang out with friends, and gas and whatever the fuck else, right? Not only that, I live in the middle of the country. If you know anything about the middle of the country, there's a lot of rednecks on drugs out here. Not a fan of hanging out with a bunch of methed out morons. Limits my options. So, in order to hang out with the, lovely bunch of people in the chat that, of other streams that I'm normally in, I get to go live and hang out with some of those cool-ass people, like Bintalk and Shane, and Caldy, whenever he decides to show up, if he decides to show up tonight, and Chase, right? You guys are legends. I genuinely enjoy hanging out. I enjoy our conversations and other chats, right? You think those questions came from a projection of the viewer bias and them thinking how it would make them feel? Yeah, maybe. It could have been. But I mean, I've never really paid attention to the views. Like, there have been Facebook streams where I've had 150 people watching me, and then there have been Facebook streams where I've had 0 people watch me for 8 hours. You know what I mean? Like, the only person watching me is me monitoring my own stream on my phone for 8 hours, right? Like, it doesn't matter to me. The people watch the videos afterwards. Since I've started streaming, one thing I notice is the internet is forever, right? Somebody's gonna come across this video out of fucking, whatever they fucking come across. And they're gonna leave a comment on it, whether it be positive or negative, right? And then I get to go back and read that comment and either laugh at the cope or receive some kind of interesting feedback, right? Like, for instance, and then I get to answer questions like, why do you still stream if you only get 5 live viewers? And it's like, well, fuck, man, because I get to hang out with those 5 cool-ass people. That's why. Is there a problem? Hey, guys, want to do some, why are you stealing that car? Oh, for fuck's sake, why are you stabbing me? Meth life. Yup, exactly. So out of curiosity, they ask. Yeah, exactly. And that's, like, by the end of the conversation, the person was genuinely cool. They were like, oh, I'm not, trying to be mean or anything. I genuinely liked your content. I'm just wondering why you don't stream on Facebook anymore and why you don't do any of the video game streams anymore. It's like, well, I wanted to provide a little bit more value to the community by either delving into history and maybe educating somebody on something they had never known before, or reviewing history with an audience of people that wants to chime in and say, something that I may have not known before, right? So I get to learn something. There's a give and take between me and the community with this, right? And then the amalgamous amount of fucking vast information I have about aviation knowledge probably going to benefit the aviation community in some way, shape, or form, right? So why not keep streaming? I want to provide value to everybody in some way. On that point of the internet is forever, Hank from SciShow, when he got his cancer diagnosis, Googled what his condition was and found a video by himself on the topic. Oh shit! That's fucking interesting. Well, wouldn't that just be an interesting turn of events if I talked about some, like, potential hazard when it comes to flying and then all of a sudden succumb to that specific very hazard. I'm just going to go ahead and knock on wood that doesn't happen. Fuck. Yeah. Like, fucking shit. That was probably just like the worst thing to say ever. Fuck. What can you do? Shit. Yeah, no, it's funny. Usually I end my streams by now, but I've actually been having a good time chilling. Having a good time hanging out. So, update. I was flying my microlight, and now I have no legs. I was flying my microlight, and I have some very unfortunate news. My landing gear broke. I skidded down the runway. I didn't lose my legs, but I did lose my ass cheeks. Ground down to my hip bone. It's very unfortunate. Now I have an indented ass where I used to have a bubble butt. It's like the reverse of a BBL. It's the ASL, the airstream landing fucking ass. That's gotta be Trippin' Shane. Yeah, Trippy Shane. Get it? Yeah, it's definitely gotta be trippy. Especially if you don't know how to use crutches. Man. Yeah, too bad no shit like that'll ever happen. Why? 'Cause I build my shit rugged. You see, fortunately for me, and when it comes to lightweight aircraft, whether it be classified as an ultralight or not, right? Because it's too heavy, then it's just a lightweight sport aircraft or a lightweight experimental, depending on what type of plane it is, right? Because of technology and the efficiency of engines nowadays, I don't have to compensate weight and structural integrity for anything. Because while they may have struggled with that back in, the 20s and 30s, the engines we have 4-cylinder engines now that are more powerful than 8, 10, and 12-cylinder engines back in the day. Like, the efficiency of technology has gotten to a point where the engine itself can be so small and so light, but still carry and propel so much, right? Especially with the advent of newer propeller technology and all that shit. And yes, I say propeller technology because there has been a significant increase in the efficiency of propellers since the dawn of fucking propellers, right? So, I build my shit rigid. That landing gear will never break off. I'll never grind down the bottom of my plane, so much so that I end up grinding off my ass cheeks. That's why I went with that one. Plus, redundancy. Safety redundancy. Right? Not only is the thing going to be structurally sound in a way that it's not going to be compromised by the low speeds that the plane will be flown at, right? Because they're not going to be fucking... I'm not dropping a fucking, Ducati engine in that motherfucker. It's not going to be going 500 miles an hour, right? They're lightweight aircraft. They're not designed to go 500 fucking miles an hour. But, if you could cruise at a smooth 70, 75... Shoot, even get closer to 100, like 90. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, you could get from point A to point B real fucking quick. No traffic. Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Way more fuel efficient. Like, let me just travel 200 miles on 5 gallons. Fuck. Ha! Shit. Toroidal propeller looks nuts, yeah. Yeah, there's all kinds of shit. Fucking... What was I gonna say? Basically not compromising structural integrity. And, like, this shit ain't flimsy. It's just not. It's not flimsy. On top of that, there's a fat drag chute attached to it. So if you start falling out of the sky for whatever fucking reason, it just shouldn't happen, but should that fucking happen, you got a big old parachute. Just pop that motherfucker. And the plane is so light, right? And it being a big old fat drag chute, you just kind of list lazily to the ground. You might ding the front end of your plane. You might break a propeller. But you're not going to hit the ground with enough force to do real structural damage. Or major engine damage, right? You might have some minor, small shit that got broken on the impact, but it won't be anything that's going to hurt you or, overall, the plane. It wouldn't be anything you couldn't fix. I don't know why most, if not all, smaller aircraft don't do that. I mean, I get it, like, the little, like, fan-propelled parachutes. It's already a parachute. What are you gonna fucking do with another parachute, right? If you're going down, you're fucking going down. Like, that's basically it, dude. Like a hang glider, like, you're going down, you know. But for an actually, like, fully formed and fully structured airplane, and you to be at, like, I don't know, 5,000 feet, if you start going down for whatever reason and can't glide it or whatever the fuck, you just pop the drag chute. What if they mistake me for an alien UFO? Well, see, that's the thing. Bintok, you gotta understand how radar works, right? Fighter jets are actually fucking huge. Like, they look small, but they're not. They're big motherfucking planes. Like, F-16's pretty fucking big. And they're like one of the smaller ones. You know what I mean? F-18s are huge. F-22s are huge. Even F-35s are pretty big. Be a single seater, right? Like, fucking fighter planes are fucking massive. These planes are like not even a third the size of that. Maybe a fifth. And weigh so much less. Like, here, hold on. Check this shit out. Let me look this shit up real quick, like on the old interwebs. An F-22, a Lockheed Martin F-22 Raptor weighs 43,300 pounds. Empty. Loaded. It weighs 65,460 pounds. Maximum takeoff weight, 83,500 pounds. Okay, now hold on. An ultralight aircraft weight limit, according to FAA regulations, and thus be exempt from registration licensing requirements. The aircraft must weigh no more than 254 pounds and have a maximum fuel capacity of 5 gallons and can only be a single seat. So, 254 pounds to 43,430 pounds. Holy shit. Massive weight difference. So, and that's a lot to do with the size and the materials, right? And in an ultralight aircraft, there's a couple few materials that are arguably more radar absorbent than they are reflectant. And then you being so small, if you popped up on anyone's radar, you'd be like a seagull. You'd be like the size of a fucking seagull on their radar. They'd be like, the fuck is that thing? Anybody got confirmation on what the hell that thing is over there? I think it's just a really big bird. Or a really, really, really small plane. But when you're landing in someone's backyard, no, fuck it. That's when you just walk out dressed like an alien. Got the alien costume on, you just walk out and you're like, what's up? You got a couple of beers in your hand and shit. You're like, start drinking. They're like, oh shit, the aliens are here to party. They're not here to take us over. They're here to throw down. Let's go. And you break out the beer pong table that you had stowed away, and they're just like, oh shit. How'd you know, bruh? How'd you know? Let's go, dude. Yeah, bruh. Ridley Scott's Alien. Yep. Fuck. Just a fucking xenomorph. That'd be really funny to see a xenomorph pop out a little fucking spaceship and be like, "What's up?" with a couple of beers. Oh, that's real comedy right there. That's fucking funny. Holy shit. Oh, that's legendary as fuck. Man. Dang. Shit, guys. It's fucking 3 in the morning. Fuck. Hate to say it, but I gotta call it a night. You would get shot? Nah. I think if you popped out with a couple of beers and was just like, what's up? I think everybody standing there witnessing that would be very confused. They wouldn't even scream in fear. They'd just be like, what the fuck is going on? Is that thing holding a couple of Dos Equis? Like, what the hell? You live in America? Yeah, I live in America. That's what I'm saying. I think if you just rolled up with a couple of beers, Americans should be down to like, especially in a liberal city. If you landed in a liberal city, like, let's just say you landed in some, like, you know, college frat boy's backyard in a liberal city, fully decked out like a xenomorph, and you rolled up out of that spaceship with, like, a handle of Captain Morgan and a couple of beers in the other hand, and you're just like, yeah, they would all drop their shit and be like, yeah, and then somebody would do a fucking beer bong. They like illegal aliens. Exactly. That's my point. Ah, shit. That's amazing. But yeah, anyways. I gotta call it a night, guys. It's fucking 2:59 a.m. It's 3 in the morning. You would be given their house. You would be given their house. You would indeed. Indeed. Yep. Indeed. Indeed. Yep. Ha ha. Shit. Anyways. Thank you all for coming and enjoying the first part of the Roman Civil Wars and my random spewing of nonsensical whatever the fuck it was afterwards. You guys are fucking awesome. Don't let anybody tell you you're not. I hope you all have a wonderful night, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you're at in the world. Doesn't matter what time it is. Enjoy that time because it could be limited. You never know when your time could come. Could be now. Could be next week. Hell, could be 435 years from now. Shit, you might be the very person that discovers the ultimate form of longevity in human life and live until you're 500 fucking years old. So stay legendary, bros, and enjoy your time. As for me, I will see y'all next time. Much love, everybody. Have a good night. I'm out.
I just wish he knew. I just wish he knew.